I know for people who maybe don't like the color pink, this you might be a little dubious, but trust me, this is going to add some flavors that you've probably never even imagined adding to granola. It's going to be awesome. And you won't even care what color it is at that point because it's just going to look really cool and it's going to taste great. So now I think we're pretty good. Because you know what? This is going to keep cooking in the oven. So I'm going to turn this off. And because I don't want to burn myself because cast iron gets really hot, I'm going to move it away from the stove. And so that we can keep working together a little bit more easily over at my counter, I'm going to dump what I have in my pan into one of our bowls that we've been using and moving back over to the counter. So here we are back at the counter. So now we need to add some salt into our granola. So adults, I did that step. You might want to do that yourself too, just so the kids don't accidentally burn themselves. But if you have a kid that's ready to take on the step of working at the stove, that's awesome. I love to hear when that happens. So we need a little bit of salt. We're going to use our teaspoons again, this time it's a 1/4 teaspoon. And so I don't accidentally put too much salt in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to measure into one of my measuring cups that I've been using today. And I'm going to fill it up if I can get any in the first go around. Here we are. There we are. That's perfect. Do it into there instead of into our bowl. So if we accidentally measure a little too much, we don't end up with super crazy salty granola, and we just end up with normal granola that we were expecting. So I'm gonna grab my spoon again, mix it up. Oh, I can smell it. It smells so good. All right, guys, I'm ready. Are you ready? This is going to be the most exciting step. So now we're going to pour in the prickly pear syrup. We already measured it, so guess what? It's ready to go. We just get to pour it in, kind of drizzling it in. Make sure we get all of that deliciousness into our pan and give it a nice stir. All right. You guys see the change in the color from when it was just brown before, brown and tan, and now it's a little bit pink. It's not like crazy pink though, so it's still good. All right, I think we got every single piece coated. You want to make sure that it's all sweet. I kind of like my granola to be sweet. It's a little bit different if it doesn't have that. So now let's grab our cookie sheet. And since it's all stirred together, we're going to spread it out onto our pan. Get it all scraped out on there. Move that over here. And now we want to spread it out, because if you don't spread it out, then you're not going to end up with granola that is evenly cooked. You want it to be evenly cooked. So get nice and spread out. Make sure you don't have any lumps. A lot over here, but scoot it over. If you're making some too, I hope yours is looking great. And you know what? If you are making some, I would love to see pictures of this. So we actually have an Instagram page. So if you would post your pictures to our page, it's Kids Cook ABQ, like Albuquerque. And I'd love to see them. I think this would be awesome. I want to see what everyone's choosing to put into their granola. Like I said, you can do anything. All right, I think that looks pretty good. So what we're gonna do next is we are going to place our baking sheet in our oven for 15 minutes. But we're gonna wanna stir our granola with our spatula about every 5 minutes or so, just so it doesn't burn. We wanna make sure that it cooks as evenly as possible. So now I'm just gonna turn around behind me. That's where my oven is, and stick it in the oven right now.
So now it's been 15 minutes since we put in our granola in the oven. I've checked it 3 times during that time, every 5 minutes or so. So I think it's looking pretty good. What do you guys think if we look at our counter cam? So this is looking pretty nice. Got some brownness to it. So I think we're ready to stir in our dried fruit. So I am using a 1/2 cup of dried raisins. I measured them during the break while we were waiting for everything else to finish. So what we're gonna do is just spread them on. And now we're going to use our spatula to mix them in. Ooh, do you hear that sound? It's got some crunch to it. This is gonna be a tasty snack. So now what you can do is if you like loose cereal-like granola, which is what I think this is going to end up being, it's a little crunchy right now, you're going to use your spatula and spread it evenly out on your cookie sheet or your baking pan. And make sure it lets it cool that way. But if you like large clumps of granola, then you're going to use your spatula. It's a pretty handy tool to just push it to everything to one side. Got a hazelnut that's running away there. Get it all to one side. And then let it get into a nice clump. You want to maybe push it down a little. And then it'll be in a slab. You want it to be about a 1/2 inch thick. Then you'll let it cool to room temperature and then break it up into your clusters. So this granola will taste great for 2 weeks if you store it in an airtight container. So this is looking pretty good. Now, I think we're ready to move on to the big guns. We're ready to mix some paletas. So let's get all this stuff out of the way and let's start cooking our next item.